Hi guys, and welcome to a Sphere Drones webinar. Really excited to get going very shortly. My name is Paris Kokinos, the Managing Director and Founder of Sphere Drones. Just bear with us another minute or so. Let's wait for a few more attendees to join us, but we will be with you very shortly. Just bear with us and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you. So again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. We're really excited to be able to present this opportunity, and it's been something that we've really been working on for quite some time now. Curo means to support, and for us, our vision is to support and empower drone programs. I'll hand over to my colleague Harrison, who will run you through the slides today, and then you'll meet with me later on to go through a little bit more of a demonstration within the instance, and we'll get going. How are you, Harrison?
Yeah, thanks, Paris. Thanks for everyone joining today. Sphere Drones have been working on Curo for the best part of 2 years, so we're really excited about finally releasing this into the Australian market. So a quick couple of things before we get started. We're going to be running a couple of poll questions throughout, so you should see them pop up on your screen. And we're also going to be leaving plenty of time for Q&A at the end, but feel free to post your questions throughout. So the first question that we're going to ask is, does your organization have an REOC? So I'll just leave that open for a few seconds. Cool, we'll move on. So a quick agenda for today. We're going to go through a bit about why Curo, current challenges in the drone industry that we've uncovered over the last 2 years, what Curo does, some of its features and benefits, how it works. So Paris will take us through an in-platform demonstration, and the roadmap, so where we're going over the next 6 months and beyond. For many people that have tuned in today that don't know Sphere Drones, it was founded back in 2011 at a time when the drone industry was first coming together. Back then, growth was driven by the demand for hardware solutions, mainly DJI. But over the last 2 years or so, our growth can be attributed to our support and service solutions that many organizations across Australia rely on to keep their hardware operational. Although we've experienced rapid growth and change over the years, the one thing that has stayed constant is our consistent drive towards creating customer-first solutions that solve real-world problems. One really quick example of this has been our water sampler system that we developed in-house for Sydney Water a number of years ago to solve a problem of safety for them when water sampling around the cliffs in Vaucluse, Sydney. That water sampler solution is now a very successful product that we continue to sell both nationally and internationally, mainly to clients working in mining and the environmental industry. To facilitate our client base, we've got offices in Sydney and Perth, providing national coverage and local support to WA's mining industry. The team at Sphere Drones is made up of pilots, engineers, designers, technical and customer support, all who are passionate about drones, and we all share a common goal of wanting to move our industry forward. When we set out to develop Curo, we grew our team further, and we also ensured that Curo was built in-house and locally. So the second poll question that we're running is, how does your organization manage record keeping? So I'll leave that open for a 20 seconds or so. Cool. Move on. So if we quickly go back and go back about 2 years, this was a time for us when, as a business, we first started to develop solutions designed to meet the needs of complex drone programs. It was around this time that we first started working with Surf Life Saving New South Wales, who were starting to rapidly grow their drone operations. With Surf Life Saving New South Wales, our team faced a challenge that we hadn't experienced before. So we really needed to change the way we're operating in order to deliver the support and service that they came to expect. To manage an organization of that scale, we had to begin building our own internal systems and workflows for support and service. Looking at Surf Life Saving today, they've got one of the largest and most complex operations in Australia, with approximately 187 drones across more than 50 locations. This is still a program that we continue to manage and support, and have been one of the main drivers and influencers for Curo. When we began to sit back and look at the systems and processes that we built, and experiencing firsthand how effective these systems were for us, we began a journey of asking ourselves how we can make the experience better on the customer's end. So how could we transfer our management principles and workflows in a way that the customer then had a view? The team at Sphere Drones began to scope out what that would look like, and we also started to engage other customers of ours to find out what challenges they faced. If I just go back quickly, a quick note on Surf Life Saving New South Wales. So for those that are listening, Surf Life Saving New South Wales are always open to applications for volunteers and paid UAV operators and pilots. So we would encourage any of you that may be interested to get in contact with the team at Surf Life Saving New South Wales. If you are interested in more information, please let us know and we'll send you the necessary information. We'll also provide this after the webinar. So in speaking to our customers, we uncovered a wide range of problems that they faced across their drone programs. For us, it's fortunate being a company that's centered around drones. We've been able to gather a unique perspective on the pain points across all industries in Australia. So what you see on the screen are a couple of common problems that a large majority of programs face, regardless of their industry. So the first being many complexities in managing a drone program. So from speaking to chief pilots and managers, it became quite clear that you want your team out in the field capturing data, as this is what generates revenue and drives efficiencies. So drones can be hugely effective and efficient in the field, but in the background, there are many moving parts and mountains of administration which build up quite quickly without an effective system. The lack of strong regulation practices. We found that there seems to be a bit of a gap between what the regulation says and what organizations are doing. Now, with MOS coming into effect, this trend is looking to only increase. When we were speaking with chief pilots, many acknowledged that their knowledge of MOS was limited, especially considering how it might affect their operations specifically. For any organization, it should always be a set standard to operate within the set regulation. And we found that many businesses are willing to invest very heavily to ensure that this is the case. Difficulty in managing data. So with any drone program, there are large amounts of data being accumulated each and every single day, from flight data, maintenance, training, accreditation, procurement, and reporting. A chief pilot needs and wants to be able to demonstrate and show control and understanding of their drone program. And we found that without effective systems and controls in place, it's becoming too large a task for one person to oversee. The last one is the constantly evolving drone industry. So drone technology is improving day by day, which is fantastic, not only for us, but all of our customers. It does, however, mean that businesses struggle to keep up with new technology and changing regulation. Without a team like Sphere Drones informing our customers of the changes, we've discovered that many businesses would struggle to stay up to date. Further to these problems, a couple of other pain points that we uncovered that we found quite interesting are difficulty in managing multiple sites and locations for larger operations, sometimes companies that are operating nationally, managing assets across multiple locations and the ability to understand the utilization of those assets. Some pain points around the best way to manage record keeping, insufficient or non-existent maintenance programs, and some concerns and uncertainty around how to plan for the future and plans for scaling a drone program. So with these challenges in mind, as well as our knowledge of drone programs and the role of a chief remote pilot, the team at Sphere Drones have built an enterprise management platform that is centered around 4 key areas of development. We say development as these are constantly changing and growing as we have more programs onboarded and we have more conversations about what's required. So the first area is automation. So automating as much as possible, where possible. In Curo, you'll see that automation exists across flight data, maintenance, reporting, procurement, and training. Removing manual entry where possible allows us to simplify drone programs. Compliance and case management. So creating a secure and auditable record of your compliance and case results for both internal and MOS purposes. Digestible data. So the team at Sphere Drones has thought hard about taking the vast amount of data in your program and visually presenting it in simple, live, and up-to-date dashboards. By making data digestible, we want to create an environment where this data can be used to shape decisions and thinking about the future. Enterprise control. So the ability to scale safely. By giving you more control, we're allowing you more time to focus on the parts of your program that matter. We're also giving you a surety that you can scale efficiently. Now, considering these 4 areas, what you are faced with is Curo. Curo is our answer to the desired customer experience, and Curo is at the center of the much bigger picture, which is Sphere Drone support. So looking at this, when we couple the vast amount of data that we have both internally and match that with the daily inputs of your drone program, we wrap that with Sphere Drone support, and you're faced with a truly unique offering in the market that hasn't really been seen in the Australian drone industry. So if we quickly take a look at some of the features that you'll see within Curo and touch on those for a second. Notifications. So notifications, automated alerts based on a wide range of customizable events. A couple of examples would be flight records, maintenance, and asset age notifications. This allows you to have effective oversight of your pilots. It also provides automatic updates and actions for maintenance cases as per MOS 1007, the technical log. Data and analytics, so on-demand reporting and insights. We, the team at Sphere Drones, can pull reports on a wide range of fields and data points. This gives you the ability to review large amounts of data in clear and concise ways. It also allows you the ability to develop insights and help shape future decisions. Looking at flight and pilot records, so what you'll see is we have automatically generated record of a flight and the relevant information associated with that flight. So we're capturing information such as location, date, duration, pilot, and the assets, a drone and battery. This removes the element of human error with manual entry when measuring and observing various flight details, such as time, serial numbers, and locations. This is also removing the administrative time associated with lodging, storing, and managing ongoing records. Looking at user profiles, so user profiles of stakeholders that are relevant to your program. So these are internals, your pilots and your maintenance controllers, but they can also be external contractors. This is a centralized location for all user information. Multiple users, activities, and profile information can easily be summarized and analyzed. Order management, so a dynamic and live ledger of all past and current transactions with Sphere Drones. This significantly reduces the time and labor required in multiple emails, phone calls, and updates requesting order statuses, invoices, and tracking numbers for shipments. Looking at the maintenance program, so the service of maintenance performed by Sphere Drones team on aircraft batteries, payloads, and relevant assets. This has been happening for a very long time, and it's been developed in accordance with manufacturer recommendations, and it aligns very well with MOS 1007, outlining the need for maintenance to be performed. Asset management, so comprehensive database of all assets. They are any with a unique identification, either serial numbers or custom asset IDs that we do in-house. This provides a summarized and accessible data to give you a snapshot of all of your assets at one point in time. It allows you to have the understanding of types, locations, and usage, and allows better utilization of these assets across your operation. Our automation links relevant objects to the asset, including flights, cases, and pilots. But looking at operational compliance, as Curo evolves over the next few months, we strive to move towards being a MOS compliant tool. So as seen throughout today, MOS has a strong presence throughout Curo. Probably one of the most common themes in the conversations that we've been having the past 6 months is how organizations are planning for MOS. With the changes of MOS coming into full effect very soon, there have been an underlying influence in many of our decisions for specific features and areas of Curo. The team at Sphere Drones developed features within Curo that are built in line with the requirements of MOS, which Paris will show in a moment in the product demonstration. If we look at something like the technical log, the team at Sphere Drones have been performing repairs and maintenance for a long time, so this was only a natural progression for us. While the requirements for MOS are comprehensive, ticking each box within MOS is a short-term goal for us. So another poll question, does your organization have a structured maintenance program? Cool. I think we'll close that off. So the journey that we've set out to do and to achieve with Curo is to create a number of benefits within Curo to improve your operations. So creating a platform that is scalable and can be with you at any time, no matter what size you have, whether that's 1 drone or 100. Providing clarity to the data and the operations that you have on a daily basis. It allows you visibility amongst your program and unwinding a lot of the complex data that we have and digesting that into a simple format. It also is extremely flexible. So in speaking with our customers, we can create Curo or your instance of Curo the way that your operations are set up and that your processes exist. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move into a product demonstration with Paris. So I'm going to hand over to Paris to take us through that.
Thanks, Harrison. Just give us 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, whilst we transfer that over. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just having a couple of technical difficulties here. Trying to get the control panel working. So I've got my screen, which I'm now able to present. So fantastic. Alrighty, so again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today, and thanks, Harrison, for such a comprehensive overview of sphere drones at this point in time. Now, what's really exciting about the platform is it has been built by not only our team as a operational business, but also by our customers. Now, when you're presented with Curo, you're presented with, first of all, a dashboard, and it's a simple dashboard of who's flown, how many flights are flown, all within the fingertips. Now, the flight data that you see today is an integration with Air Data. Now, some of you may be aware of Air Data. Air Data is a flight data tool. We've got an exclusive integration with them at this point in time, which is really, really exciting, and it really does enable a drone program to understand and manage their flights on a day-to-day. But what we do here within the platform is use that intelligence from the flight data to make actionable insights and decisions from a drone program perspective. So immediately, as I said, you're presented with the activities, where the flights are flown, the specific flights, who the pilots are, the assets that are currently in your fleet, and any open cases that you might have with Curo and with Sphere Drones as a business. But today, the focus of it is how we've come to where we have come to. And as Harrison has outlined, for us, we've always been very, very close to the manufacturers. So it all boils down for us to the actual assets that you have on hand. So for us as a business, we've got 29 drones in our fleet, which are used for rental purposes, which are used for operation purposes, that are used for a range of and a variety of business functions. But immediately you're presented with all your assets, from your batteries through to your carry cases, your chargers, filters, your lenses, your payloads, whatever that may be. But what we're going to do today is mainly focus on a asset. So we're going to look at an asset, an active asset. Now, an active asset and an inactive asset, you can say it's a decommissioned or a commissioned asset, and then looking at drones. So we're going to look at all active drones. So we've got 14 active drones in our fleet today, and it's a variety of drones from Flyby EVLOSs right the way through to Enterprise Duals, all the way through to the Matrice 210 RTK. Now, the really great thing about the way we've built Curo is, as an example, if you were to purchase an aircraft from us, that serial number is captured on your invoice. That serial number is there and available to be onboarded into Curo at a flick of a switch. Now, that doesn't mean that you weren't able to come into the platform at any point in time. For us, we assign a serial number to a product, and that product and serial number become an asset. Now, as I said earlier, because we're really close to and work very close to the manufacturer, we have a lot of global information within our platform. So things like RPA type, things like minimum and maximum gross takeoff weight, these are things that are standardized within our platform, regardless of who you are. So if you purchase a drone for a Phantom 4 RTK to us, it takes that global data set that we've identified as multi-rotor minimum and maximum gross takeoff weight, and applies that to your asset. We're also tracking things like the extended warranty, where it's at, is it care refresh, and we can see that it's due on the 18th of February, 2020 is when 2021 is when it's going to expire. Now, that's a very, very important date and time, because what that really means, and as some of you may be aware, the whole purpose of care refresh is as a warranty basis. As Harrison said earlier, our system has the capability of notifying you when those dates are up. And because that transaction was made with us as a business and us as Sphere Drones, we're able to action extensions of that extended warranty period, which obviously safeguards your fleet. But to talk a little bit more about what you're seeing here, you get a global dashboard view of the total flights that have been synchronized by our flight data, and we'll go into the flights object in a second. You see the total flights, the total airtime, and as it's defined in part 1007 of the manual standards, you need to have the date or operational time for the next maintenance, and that's part of 1007 1D. Now, what we do here is we establish a maintenance schedule which is exclusive to each asset. Now, the way our maintenance program has been established, and it is being designed and developed by our team, this intelligent process as to how we track and manage your maintenance. It is triggered on maintenance days and maintenance hours, on a major and a minor. Minor we consider is conducted by your team. A major is what's conducted by our team. Now, it's not necessarily needs to be conducted by our team, but we recommend that get the technical expertise to assist you in delivering your major maintenance. Now, in this scenario, if this was something that you wanted to do yourself, you're more than capable of doing so. But what we've got established here is that 180 days and at 50 hours, we expect to do a major maintenance, and whichever one comes first. And that's simply triggered off, say, for example, an aircraft is accumulating at 2 hours a day of flight time. It will hit its major maintenance at a certain period of time, closer than what the major maintenance days would be. Now, as we've identified, this major and minor maintenance schedule is built up and developed on an asset-to-asset basis. So we've got a standard and global maintenance schedule for each product type. However, dependent on your operating conditions, and as Harrison said earlier, Surf Lifesaving, who's arguably one of Australia's largest drone programs at this point in time, have a much stringent and stricter maintenance process because of the environment they are operating in. Now, looking at how this works in our system, we establish a major and a minor maintenance case, and we automatically assign an agent to those minor and major maintenance cases, which means that you're going to have an agent and an account manager follow you up to say, hey, we're waiting for this asset to come into our warehouse and to be conducted, that minor or major. Now, the minor, as I said, can be conducted by your team, and the major can be conducted by our team, but alternatively, all procedures with regard to the major and minor maintenances are set up and established here within the platform. So over the years, we've been working very, very closely with the manufacturers to really drill down what goes into the major maintenance schedules. And you can see here, we've got an extensive major maintenance schedule here for the Mavic 2 Enterprise series. And this is all built off our learnings as an organization. Now, a really interesting insight. Last week, the team and I had a great conversation with another client of ours on the West Coast, and a mine operator who was experiencing at 50 hours of flying a Matrice 200. They were finding that the motor blocks were starting to wear and tear. So immediately for us as an organization, because we're conducting this maintenance and because we're quite actionable in and amongst the drone community, we were able to, anyone that had that Matrice 200 with that maintenance, with those major maintenance or was accumulating those hours, we were able to amend our processes and procedures on a global level, not just from a individual business unit perspective. Coming back to that enterprise, coming back to that Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual, you're able to see the serial number, the purchase date, the group, and then you've got this really interesting functionality here, which is around a site. Now, being a program manager, you want to understand at any point in time where your assets are. For myself, I want to understand where our business assets are at any point in time, whether in our Sydney office, whether in our Perth office. If you're transferring assets, as simple as identifying, I want to transfer this asset to Perth, and then I know that that's been established to Perth. For this case, this demonstration, I'll show you the Sydney site in a moment. But before we go on, we're going to drill down into the flights in a little bit more detail. If we were, as I said earlier today, we are integrated with air data at this point in time to capture those flight logs. And this has been an integration that we've had established for quite some time now. Now, what you'll notice here is this drone asset and this battery asset. Now, these two are assets that are established inside our system. And we present the information that we need to be able to make these intelligent decisions from a drone program perspective. So you've got your date, your total airtime, the total distance traveled, the takeoff and the landing location, and then the source. And fundamentally, if you wanted to, you can click straight into that air data source to be able to drill down into that specific flight to see that KML. For us, our focus has fundamentally been assets and drone program management. And as you can see here on the right-hand side, you're able to see the drone assets and the battery asset that was used for that flight. And on the battery, we're capturing things like health, temperature, takeoff and landing battery percentages, and able to draw some insights on those specific assets. Now, batteries and drones are treated in the same way, other than the information that we're capturing on them are slightly different. So on a battery, we've got the maximum safe cycles, the battery chemistry, the cell count, the capacity. And as we build out the platform in more detail, we've got discharge capacity, storage voltage capacity, minimum voltages, maximum voltages. But fundamentally, that information that you see down there on the left-hand side is global data for us as an organization. As promised, I did want to go into sites in a little bit more detail. For us, as Harrison mentioned, we've got a team in Sydney and we've got a team in Perth. In Sydney, we've got 208 assets. In Perth, we've got 54 assets. But for us, it's as simple as drilling into that location there in Perth, and I'm able to see the register of assets that we've got, from batteries right the way through to drones. Now, again, I'm able to drill down into that Matrice 210 RTK to see who's flown it, where it's flown, the cases, the maintenance schedule, and the procedures. I'd probably like to pull that up at that point in time. In terms of demonstrations, obviously between Harrison and the team at Sphere Drones, we'd be happy to demonstrate further, but that just gives you a taste of where we're going in terms of establishing and assisting in running a drone program. I would like to pass back over to Harrison, go through a few more slides, but I'd like to thank everyone for attending today. And if there are any questions, I recommend you use the right-hand tab if you've got questions about how the system works, how you remain compliant with MOS Part 1007 or other regulation, other parts of the regulation. Feel free to answer them. But I'll pass back over to Harrison to kind of delve deeper into a few more questions, a few more slides.
So thanks, Paris, for running us through that demonstration. He'll also run us through the product roadmap in a moment. But what you can see from that quick look into Curo is that it is a enterprise drone management platform that is all-encompassing for a drone program. I guess the most important thing to consider is that it is built around the team at Sphere Drones. So what Curo really is offering you is a single platform, a single login for all of your users. It has the ability to integrate into existing systems that you may be using. We are quite agnostic to different suppliers and systems that you might want to integrate to in the future. For training, for example, we're working with AV Assist and integrating in with their platform. And as I said, Sphere Drones being the heart of the support, maintenance, and additional services. So having a local support team that is backed behind the software was very valuable and crucial to a lot of our larger clients that really drove the value and the need for us to develop a platform such as Curo. So what we've got here is a little bit about the roadmap, and so I'll pass that on to Paris to just talk a little bit further to where we're going over the next 6 months and beyond.
Cool, thank you very much, Harrison. So as we've kind of established, for us, we're looking at really assisting our customers to really get to that next level in terms of a drone program, enable them to scale and get to a point in time where they can more focus on their operation. So for us, the next 6 months really looks at record keeping. What does that look like from an organization perspective? What are the regulation requirements from record keeping? Followed by customizable notifications and alerts. So looking at other things other than just your drone program and things around flight distances, flight heights, using that intelligent air data information to really draw insights as to what's going on. And because we're so close to the OEM and so close to those manufacturers, for us, there's nothing saying that we are unable to give directive notices about specific aircraft. And as I mentioned earlier, at 50 hours, a customer of ours had an issue. We put out a notice there. We identified all the aircraft that we had in our fleet to really say, hey, we need to change this at the 50-hour mark. Things like that, really being intelligent about that. And then I guess if we look at the last two there, native third-party integration. So we're looking to integrate with market leaders like AV Assist, who is a great trainer, who is a great representative and a great advocate of the industry. So whether when you do complete your training with AV-Assist, that training log and that training history comes straight into Curo. Now, the sections that we didn't show you today were specifically around, we didn't show you any more detail around orders, we didn't show you detail around trainings, we didn't show you details around our checklists and our minor major checklist functionality. Those are things that if you did like to see, we'd be happy to engage and show you that. But for us, really, the objective is to be that integration drone program manager, and we really want to be that elastic centralized platform that enables your business to grow into the future. And then finally, we'll look at what future looks like for us, and CASA being the regulator within the aviation space, we really want to align with them and potentially integrate with them to assist with things like drone registration, pilot accreditation. There's no reason why we are unable to assist with those sorts of things. And yes, the conversations are open with CASA at this point in time to present and show them Curo. Harrison, we do have a couple questions here. I was hoping that we could go through those.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Paris. Once again, if anyone does have questions, we are happy to answer as many as there are. So if you have any questions at all, do send some through. One question from Jeremy Smith, is the data stored on Australian servers? So yes, Jeremy, the data is stored on local AWS servers. Another question from Jeremy that's come through is, does Curo have flight planning functions, or does it focus mainly on asset management? So Jeremy, this is not yet a functionality that exists. However, it has been scoped and it has been assessed for further future developments. Let's look. So another question that's come through is asking around the different plans that have been offered. So we offer 3 different plans: Curo Lite, Curo Enterprise, and Enterprise Plus. Enterprise Plus gives you access to the full suite of services. It also gives you access to our maintenance schedule and program. Curo Lite gives you a little bit less functionality, but it gives you the flight data and flight integration with air data. Enterprise gives you the full suite minus the maintenance program of your drones. So another question around, how do you actually get your drone information into Curo? So great question. So once you've signed up to one of our programs, we have an onboarding team that will work with you to understand your drone program, and we go through an audit of your assets and your personnel. So once that's complete, we'll take care of the whole onboarding process to get all of your assets and your data into Curo, and then we'll basically deliver that platform once it's ready to use. Question from Ben Smith, how is Curo billed? Curo is charged out on a per drone per month basis. So as I mentioned before, with the different offerings, we've got multiple pricing tiers designed to suit all drone programs of any size. So reach out to any one of our team members to find out a little bit more information on how that's structured. It's important to note that as we're priced on a per drone basis, the users available is unlimited. So if you have 2 drones on the platform, you can have an unlimited amount of users on the platform. Having a look at what else there is. So Paris, I'll pass this question on to you. How can, Joe earlier has asked, how can dual use sub 2 kilo RPA be managed with Curo if they move between REOC managed RPA and excluded category, each having different maintenance tracking requirements?
Thanks for that one, Joe. A real curly one, but happy to answer it. So I guess if we look at part 1007 and the requirements there, for anything that weighs more than 25 kilos, we need to actually be tracking in service time for engines, motors, rotors, and propellers. So for us, we look to track those if we're the sole manager of the maintenance for those sorts of aircraft, then we're able to track that. But as soon as it gets outside of our control, where there are other users and other maintenance stakeholders that may not be communicating with the program, that may cause an issue. But nonetheless, for those aircraft and those RPA that weigh more than 2 kilos and require that maintenance schedule, we currently manage that on an exclusive asset basis. So sub 2 kilo assets. So for sub 2 kilo assets, we still establish a maintenance regime, but the only real difference is if there is defective items and defective assets whose weight is more than 2 kilos, and in that case, we actually identify and manage the case and identify what the defective equipment is. If there is defective equipment on every case that is handled by the team at Sphere Drones. As far as we're concerned, the only other requirement as part of 1007 that identifies the maintenance requirements is if the fail-safe equipment is fitted to the RPA, is unserviceable, how do you deem that? And for us, we again manage that through the defect functionality of our case manager. But I guess to answer your question, how can a dual use sub 2 kilogram RPA excluded be managed with Curo if they move between the REOC and excluded category operations? To really drill down into that, it really comes back down to, first of all, identifying whether it is a sub 2 kilo operation or a greater than 2 kilo operation. But our recommendation is to manage, and similar to the way organizations are managing their REPL users, is how we may as well establish every asset to have the requirements of the 2 kilogram maintenance, but simplified, really. So, Joe, if we can take that one offline, happy to discuss further. But yeah, Harrison, we've got another question here about how have we developed the maintenance program and who is performing the maintenance. So, to talk more about the maintenance, our maintenance program has been developed in-house and alongside manufacturers and the standards they've outlined. So let's take DJI, for example. They've outlined and trained and laid out those specific maintenance guidelines that we've established, and we have an in-house team both in Sydney and Perth who perform maintenances. So if we look at a M200, for example, a Matrice 200, we have major maintenances that are set out over a set period of time, and we do conduct those based on the maintenance schedule that we define on the asset basis. How long does a maintenance take to perform? So maintenance kits are pre-purchased in advance, and once they're scheduled into our system, the team turns them around within the 1 to 3 business days. But if you factor in freight and handling and all that kind of stuff, all the freight and handling usually takes about 7 days in total to turn around a maintenance. We do have functionalities like a hot swap program that able to facilitate and ensure your drone program is operational all through that point in time. Another question we've had here from Alastair, are flight training records part of the system? Alastair, yes, they are. So we track all the training flights that get conducted if they are being performed by Sphere Drones personnel. For you as an organisation and for a customer, we're able to tag the flight based on them being a training flight. And that's just a functionality within the flight record function. You're welcome, Alistair.
There's been a question that has come up around the handling of data. So any of the data is held on secure platforms at Sphere Drones. And it's only used to develop insights about how Curo can be improved to better serve our customers. And that's, I think, answers the question. A question around Curo being do not need to worry about completing Curo, a drone compliance tool. So adherence to the regulation requires complete investment on the stakeholders' end. So Curo is a tool that aids compliance by enabling personnel to complete their tasks accurately and above all else lawfully, but it is not an all-out compliance tool at this stage, so that requires further conversation. Alistair, as per a previous question before, so around the data holding, so that's held on AWS servers that are local. Cool, so we might wrap it up there. That seems to be the end of the questions. As we've mentioned, if you are looking for a more in-depth demonstration of Curo, have any other questions around the platform, how we've built it or what the roadmap looks like, please don't hesitate to get in touch with anyone from Sphere Drones. You can email us at info@spheredrones, but we'll also be sending out some further information about Curo in the coming weeks as to what it's going to look like and where it's going. So thank you all for attending today, and look forward to speaking to you further in the future.